Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us. We are in the bottom line, and I'm your host, Lauren Khalil. On the show today, we have Cooper Marsh. He's a sports agent with Lab Management, working with top CrossFit athletes like Danielle Brandon and Amanda Barnhart. And then also on the show today is the meme master himself of Make WODs Great Again, John Woolley. Today, we're discussing the beverage company Monster's role in the CrossFit ecosystem. So, Cooper, I want to start with you. One of your top athletes, Danielle Brandon, she received a sponsorship with Monster. From what you can discuss with us, how has the deal been different to other partners, or what has the impact been like for Danielle as she continues to become a professional athlete?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the Monster deal is a little bit unique in the sense that they don't ask much of Danielle. It's a partnership that is ideally going to set herself, up for long-term success financially and in the sport itself, because it allows her the freedom to train without the stresses of a 9 to 5 job. Now, that's not to say that other brands in the space aren't also providing that for her, but the way Monster does business and the way they kind of roll in other spaces is that they just kind of want to add value to the athlete and then let the athlete be an athlete. So it's quite nice in that sense.
John, for you, when you hear that Monster is looking to eventually sponsor gyms, and as someone who supports other brands like O2, do you see a seat at the table for a brand like Monster that historically has been a company that CrossFit doesn't really support?
Well, that's a question for an affiliate owner if they're going to sponsor gyms. I guess here's what I would say is that Monster's a great brand for the sport. Like for athletes, you want to get sponsored, go for it, man. These guys work hard. They need to get paid, and Monster's got deep pockets. I had zero issues with any athlete doing it. And bluntly, like I've watched athletes for decades get sponsored by McDonald's and God knows who. And so I think people don't connect a brand like Monster with a great athlete like Danielle and say, okay, Danielle is all about sugary drinks. I don't think they think that. People can, we're adults. We can figure that piece out. Sponsoring gyms is something else altogether. I mean, CrossFit is in the business of health. CrossFit itself is in the business of health. Like I just think back to when I started in an affiliate, one of the first words out of my mouth to the coach was, are you going to help me with nutrition? And so I think it would be very disingenuous to bring in a brand that is well known for, their juice drinks and their sugary drinks and make that a staple in the gym. So I think we've got to start figuring out this distinction between the sport and the affiliate life and what happens in affiliates and what CrossFit should be putting their name on. So the short answer is great for athletes, bad for the brand.
Yeah.
Cooper, what are your
Just
thoughts
to kind
on
of build off that, John. I mean, that's a thing that I kind of, because I've gotten into this with, different people. You got to treat the sport like the sport, and then CrossFit Health as CrossFit Health. Now, that's not to say that they live in completely different, houses, but more so down the hall from one another. At the end of the day, right? Like we want to create an ecosystem where the sport can thrive, and to be able to do that, you need to have non-endemic brands come in that have deeper pockets, like John said, that are willing to invest their money and that can, see some type of ROI in the space so that they want to stick around, and then it attracts other brands. Now, when that happens, right, not only do these athletes make a better living, right, for all of the hard work, they actually get paid for it. But it also, it grows the sport, right? It turns into network deals, right? It turns into more eyeballs. And for me personally, right, like CrossFit changed my life. Now that doesn't mean, I'm gung ho on Coke or whatever, right? Who owns Monster? But it changed my life and the way I look at working out and health and wellness. And the way I was exposed to that was from people doing handstand push-ups on a, like a plywood, board in regionals back in like 2012. So it was the sport that got me intrigued in it, right? As a former athlete, as a former, college soccer player. And then, it had me walk into a CrossFit gym, which I was intimidated to do, but I thought the sport looked really cool. The people looked, super hyped on one another. And that's what got me there. And so to me, it's not like Monster comes in and it just eradicates what it is that CrossFit Health is doing. It's like, no, it comes in, it puts money in the space, more eyeballs go on CrossFit Games, right? And then that person walks away from, you know, the CBS broadcast and goes and walks into their local affiliate and gets healthier for it. So can it be, you know, seen as a double-edged sword? Absolutely. But I think it's, you know, overwhelmingly more positive for the sport.
Do you think though, then, because right now whether you're a professional athlete or whether you're just a normal person going to your affiliate, you're still under that one umbrella. CrossFit hasn't separated the professional side from the community side or the affiliate side. So do you think that in order to bring companies in like Monster, that CrossFit HQ needs to do that? What are your thoughts, John and Cooper?
I don't think HQ should bring them in. Clear. I mean, I'm totally fine with athletes getting endorsements where they need to get them and get paid. Athletes need to get paid. That's important to me. But I think CrossFit as a brand it is turning away from their North Star if they're taking money from brands that aren't in our wheelhouse or don't represent the values in which we all share, which are health and wellness. Monster is not a health and wellness brand. It never has been. This isn't about Coke for me. I know like a lot of people are making this that Coke owns Monster, which by the way, they don't. They own a portion of Monster, but they do not own Monster. There's mostly a distribution rights and a couple of spots on the board. You know, it's not that different. Matter of fact, Coke and Monster got into a lawsuit not that long ago, and you don't sue yourself, right? So it's pretty easy to figure out as long as you read the financials on it. But the reality is that, when we're setting foot in the gym, the thing that we're talking about day in and day out are healthy workouts and how to stay healthy and not get injured. And we're talking about nutrition, and Monster doesn't fit into that. Now, I'm not naive. We all do things in our private lives probably that aren't always completely healthy, but, we're leading our own lives. CrossFit is trying to help us get to where we want to be, and they should be giving the best, most sound advice possible. And I don't believe Monster lines up with that. And I think if they're buying those sponsorships and doing that to bring people in, you're bringing people in under a disingenuous message. We need to be bringing people in under the message that, hey, the CrossFit Games, like, you can train for this in our gyms, but our gyms do something completely different. And what we do in our gyms is we're helping people live healthier, happier lives. And that includes, what you put into your body. And Monster doesn't fit into that. I just think it's too far away from our original message to be effective.
That you're potentially putting CrossFit Games and CrossFit, HQ kind of, yes, it's CrossFit HQ, but are you putting CrossFit Games under the same umbrella as CrossFit Health at that point though?
I don't think because I don't think the game should take a sponsorship from Monster at all. I think, anytime you put eyes on that prize that CrossFit's putting their name on, we're not going to, it should not become the Monster CrossFit Games, I guess is my point. If Monster's going to have a booth at the games, so be it. That doesn't bother me as much because, I mean, hell, we let Toastmasters in there. What the heck do they do? Like, come on. Like, there are plenty of sponsors that people can look at and say, does that, address my real life? Right. But, when you say I'm aligned with this company, which is what would happen if CrossFit took an endorsement, which is far different than an athlete doing it. It's a big deal. Like, it's great for the athletes, normal people. I think everyone recognizes athletes have to get paid, and, who cares who sponsored them? You want to sponsor an athlete? I mean, hell, I could sponsor an athlete if I really wanted to. I'm not going to pay as well as, Monster, obviously. So tell Danielle to not call me, but that's the truth,
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's where, for me, it's like I concern myself with the athlete's well-being first and foremost. Right. So it's a good thing that, John and I aren't on the partnerships board for CrossFit HQ because they've got their professionals to handle that. And, it's an awesome crew over there that's doing their thing. But at the end of the day, right, like, it's a choice, right? Whether you're going to, drink your Bang energy drink, or if you're going to drink a Fit Aid or a Drink O2 or a water when you walk in the gym, right? Like, aligned or not, the person makes a decision in their own health and wellness jersey if they're going to consume something like that or not. But yeah, end of the day, like, I'm most focused on making sure that my athletes are taken care of. So in terms of CrossFit Games partnerships, just having spoken with that team a little bit, moving forward, the goal of JB and his team that he's forming is that if something doesn't maybe align with the the games or HQ or whatever, that they're going to try to kick that into more of just the athlete ecosystem as opposed to an overarching partnership. So there might be things that they determine that aren't the right fit, right? And Monster was at that time, so we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, like I'm pretty stoked for Danielle in this partnership, and excited to see where it goes.
It is great for Danielle, by the way, and for those other athletes. Like, I think of someone like Danielle, who I love, like a terrific person,
Yep.
and I want to see her succeed long term. And it does take the pockets of some big companies like that. I just don't think, they have to perfectly align with the games. Like, I think people forget, like, the games is a loss leader for this company. The games can bring people into the affiliates and can help with that, but the affiliates were around and grew far faster than the games did. The games, I mean, nearly bankrupt the company, and it's going to continue to be that way for a while until they get this figured out. But bringing in, selling your soul to fix the financials doesn't put people in the affiliates. It does the opposite.
So, John, what's your bottom line?
My bottom line is athletes line up and sign up, get all the money, including Monster. But bottom line for me is CrossFit doesn't need to lose its North Star. We need to keep our eyes clearly focused on health and wellness.
Cooper, what's your bottom line?
My bottom line is get paid, and I'm not going to say the rhyme.
And we'll leave it at that. John Woolley and Cooper Marsh, thank you so much for discussing the topic of Monster in the CrossFit space, and we'll see you next time.